Welcome, everyone, to episode 60 of the Do You Know Ball podcast. I am Matt DeGennaro, joined here with Zachary Pappenberg. Zach, say hi.
What's going on, everybody?
And I'm joined with everyone's favorite beautiful face, and he's also an athlete, Jonathan Stevens. Jonathan, say hi to the people.
Let's go, boys. I'm happy to be here. Let's go.
And you guys can see all of us. We're going to be doing a little bit differently this time around. So we're going to get right into the first topic. If you want to see a list of topics, please go to the description of this video. And you can click around, you can skip around and go to specific topics that you're looking for. But without further ado, let's go into the first topic. And that first topic is the NBA draft. Boys, the NBA draft just happened last night at the time we are recording this. Did you guys get to watch it at all? Any thoughts, anything like that? Because I'm going to
I
rant.
did. I did get to watch it. I
Okay.
saw a couple picks. I mainly paid attention to the first 10 picks. Um
Okay.
Obviously Flag went 1, Harper went 2, and Edgecombe went 3. The one thing that shocked me about the draft though was the whole Ace Bailey stuff. Like literally he told the media that he didn't want to play for Utah the whole time. Didn't want to go there, didn't want to go there, wanted to go to Brooklyn, wanted to go to somewhere else where he could be the star, where he could be the main guy, and he got drafted by Utah anyways. So that kind of shocked me. But other than that, I mean, I guess a little bit of a disappointment for me was obviously the Nets pick. I'm gonna let you get into that. I don't
Yeah.
need to explain why
Yeah,
for
and I'll
that,
get
but
into
I'll
that.
I'll I'll let you get into that. But
Mhm.
thought maybe they should have traded up for a pick and tried to get a guy like Ace Bailey
Mhm.
or just a higher draft pick in general. But
Mhm.
overall, I thought it was a pretty good draft. Stars went where they were gonna go, and Cooper Flag's gonna be a demon with the Mavericks, and their lineup is gonna be really fun to look at next year. So,
Mhm.
I mean, that's really my thoughts on it. I'll hand it back off to you, Deej.
Yeah, before I go, Johnny, I mean, I know
Mhm.
you're an avid NBA fan. Anything to say, or you want me to just go?
I'll let you go. I have some thoughts on Ace Bailey, but they're not important. I'll
All
let
right.
you.
All right, cool. So before we actually get into the full thing, I did make a draft board of my predictions for this upcoming draft, and I do it every year. And the yellow ones are the ones I got correct. I only got 5 picks correct this year. I got the top four, and I got Jace Richardson correct at 25 to the Orlando Magic. So pretty much the draft started at number 3 because we were unaware if VJ Edgecombe or Ace Bailey was going to go to the Sixers. I thought it was going to be VJ. I was correct. So the Sixers get that. I don't blame them because Ace did not want to go there. And then Colin Kneppel went 4 to the Hornets. Absolutely love that pick. Now we go to number 5, Jeremiah. Oh, no. Sorry, Jeremiah Fears did not go 5. I forgot. This is my board. I had Jeremiah Fears going 5. Ace Bailey went 5. That is honestly the last place I expected Ace Bailey to go to because he was very clear that he did not want to go to Utah, and Utah still drafted him. I really hope that does not bite Danny Ainge in the ass with that pick because Danny Ainge, he's not afraid to do things. He's good at being a great GM and he scams other teams. So maybe he trades Ace down the line. I could see Ace leaving Utah the minute he's a free agent, like the minute. But, other than that, Utah had a great, great draft. They also got Walter Clayton Jr. I really like that for Utah. The problem is they have too many guards in my eyes. I'm just going to skip all the way down to Zach said, because this is the main point of this topic I want to talk about. I am a Brooklyn Nets fan. Johnny, did you know that?
I do know that.
Oh, that's great. I love that you know that. People out there, I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan. So you can imagine my face when they drafted Yegor Demon 8. That was my reaction. I I was expecting, Noah Asenge. I was expecting maybe a Carter Bryant, Malawak, the Duke center. I apologize, I don't know how to pronounce his name properly. No, they went Yegor Demon, who was projected 14, 15, and they reached. This was Sean Mark's first lottery pick as the Brooklyn Nets GM, and he drafted Yegor Demon. Now, I have to try and convince myself that that is a good selection. I think he's going to be a great player, but I definitely think it's a reach. Next, the Nets had 19. They drafted Nolan Traore. He's solid. Nolan Traore. I'm going to butcher a lot of these names because they're foreign names. Nolan Traore. I can't pronounce his name. Nolan Traore. He's from France. He's good. He's very good. People say he's better than Jeremiah Fears. I like that selection. However, you already drafted a very similar player in Yegor Demon, like 10 picks earlier, pretty much. Now, you go on to 22. You go to 22. You know they draft Drake Powell. Love that pick. Love that pick. It's like a mini Josh Hardish type player. If you guys want a little comparison. Next, you go to their next pick, Ben Saroff. Lost me. Absolutely lost me. I was dumbfounded. He's the same player as Trior. He's the same player as the first two guards that they chose. Makes zero sense. He needs the ball in his hand. They all need the ball in their hands. I'm trying to keep this as fast as possible. Then we go to Danny Wolf. Danny Wolf, absolutely love that pick. Absolutely love that pick. He's like a mini DeMontis Sabonis. He's younger. He's great. He moves insane for a 7-footer. Y'all, have you guys ever seen Danny Wolf film?
No, I actually haven't. I have not.
Jonathan, I know you'd have not seen Danny Wolf film.
You're absolutely right.
Educate yourself because that man is a beast. But like just overall, GMs were laughing at the Nets for their selections. How does it feel for me as a Nets fan to go and just see pain after pain after pain after pain after pain every year? And we finally have 5 first-round picks, the most in NBA history for a first round, by the way. And then we have this disaster class by Sean Marks and Jordy Fernandez and Joe Tsai. I have no choice but to have faith in these young core, in this young group of players that we've drafted, because I it's out of my hands. I'm just a fan. I just watch the team. I just yell at them. I just tweet angry things. I have no control. So I'm trying to keep this really quick because we have a lot of fun topics. But overall, as a Nets fan, it was a very disappointing draft class. However, I am very excited about Yegor. I'm very excited about Nolan. Ben has to prove a little bit. He has to prove me wrong. But Danny and as well as Drake Powell, I think they're going to be great selections. Just very questionable to build your franchise around those players. So without further ado, unless y'all want to go into the next topic, I could rant about all day. But Zach, I'll
Yeah,
leave it up to you.
we could go straight into the next topic. I think this is well overdue. We've been talking about this for the past couple pods. We've been keeping up with the finals. And it went into a game 7, a shocking game 7 that we all really didn't expect. And the Thunder came out on top, but not in the exact way that you probably expected or thought was going to happen. Halliburton got hurt in the first quarter, and it was immediately an Achilles injury. They did the replay. You just watching the replay back, you could see his Achilles pop. It's the same injury that Damian Lillard had. It's the same injury that Aaron Rodgers had. It's going around. It's something that the NBA is actually looking into now. I know the commissioner Adam Silver that he said something about that they're doing some research on it and they're trying to better the players right now and try to help aid and stop Achilles injuries in the
Mm-hmm.
league or try
Yep.
to prevent it from happening as much. Um, but yeah, that's a big injury for Indiana, and it's just blowing the East even more wide open because like we said a few pods back when we were talking about the Jason Tatum injury, obviously the Celtics aren't going to be the same team next year. They're looking a whole lot different. We'll get into that later on as well. Um, but man, I gotta hats off to the Thunder. They were a really terrific team. They had a great season all year long. Even at the end, SGA when he won the Finals MVP, he gave it to J Dubs and just let him hold it, let him enjoy the moment, and because he was as much of important to that team just as Shy was. So it was a really great series, great playoffs. Really roped me back into basketball a lot more, and I couldn't be happier with the way the 2025 playoffs went. It was really good. I'll hand it back off to you though, Deej.
Yeah, actually, I want Johnny to talk. Johnny, what are your thoughts on the NBA Finals?
Happy for OKC. Exactly what I said was going to happen. By the way, we can go back. I said OKC in 7.
Did he, Zach? Can you fact check that? Did he?
He did. He said 6 or 7, and then he locked in, I think 7. I'm pretty
Wow.
sure.
So you got lucky.
I didn't get lucky. I knew that was like that was.
Why?
Why is that?
I
A
want
chance?
I want your expert analysis.
What do you mean? There's no expert analysis. The Pacers are not a team that you're just gonna roll over on, like that. You're just gonna beat. They're gonna
But
fight, and that's what they did. God knows what would have happened if Tyrese Halliburton didn't even tear his Achilles. I don't even want to know. But I think it's a way more competitive game than what we saw, given
okay.
how.
Well, as First off, congrats to OKC. You were the best team in the NBA this year. Oh my lord, almost just spilled my water. You were the best team in the NBA this year. You beat the injured Pacers in the last game of the series. Congrats. I'm not taking anything away from you. Shea, absolutely deserved Finals MVP. Good for you. Best OKC Thunder of all time? That's a debate, maybe. Probably. He won them a championship. I want to talk about the Pacers, right? I was cheering nonstop for the Pacers. I was probably their number one supporter. I was probably a bigger supporter for the Pacers than Pacers fans. Absolutely sucks to see them lose like that. I feel really bad because players do not come back from Achilles injuries like that. Like only Kevin Durant is the only person to do it and arguably get better after it, which is crazy to say. And we're gonna talk more about Kevin Durant after. I'm sorry. So pretty much Halliburton is hurt. Hopefully he gets better. And Pacers fans, I am super sorry because that is so close, and I don't know if y'all are gonna ever get that chance again. I hate to say it. I hate to. The East is wide open now. I mean, other teams are gonna start to get competitive. The Hawks added a big piece. The Magic added a big piece. The Celtics are making changes. And the Knicks, if they stay healthy, and the Cavs, if they stay healthy, the Brooklyn Nets with Yegor Demon, like they're gonna be scary too. Yegor Demon is the next Luka Doncic, by the way. Just putting that out there. Laugh at me now. Come back to this in 5 years. I feel bad for the Pacers. Why are you laughing, Zach?
Nothing. Just continue. Continue on. Continue on.
I just feel bad for the Pacers. It sucks to go out that way. You were having a Nationals run like in 2019, and you come up short a little bit because of the injury. Had Halliburton stayed healthy, Pacers might be NBA champions. And they're going to be kicking themselves over as well because they lost really close in a couple other games. But, you can't look back. You got to look for the future. Pacers, just hopefully Halliburton comes back healthy. Maybe Siakam has a great year next year and leads you guys back to the finals. I honestly doubt it. I think the Orlando Magic, maybe. Well, I don't know. That's my prediction. It's quite possible, but that's all I have to say on the NBA Finals. It was great this year. Great NBA Finals. Without further ado, I think Johnny wants to talk about this one. Or no, Zach,
Johnny,
did you want to?
I actually really wanted to introduce this topic
Oh yeah,
because
go for it.
this is something
Go
that
for it.
actually angers me as a basketball fan, a low key basketball fan, but it it's frustrating to see because it's happening more now than ever. Like we saw it with the Luka trade. We're seeing it now across other sports with MLB trades and the Devers trade. And I don't know why GMs are just like going to the first team and accepting an offer. So without further ado, Kevin Durant is a Rocket now. The Rockets got Kevin Durant for 5 second round picks. They gave up 5 second round picks. Let me clear that up again,
Mhm.
just so it's clear. 5 second round picks.
Was it 4?
They got nope
It was 5.
It was
5.
five.
Okay.
Five. 5 second round picks. They got the 10th pick in the 2025 draft, and they got Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green. That, my friend, is a terrible, terrible, terrible move from the
Whoa.
Phoenix Suns.
Whoa.
They could have gotten so much more for Kevin Durant. I would have expected at least a couple, maybe at least 2 to 3 first round picks. I know, granted, KD is older, very much so older,
Oh.
but I would have expected you got to get at least something out of it. And Jalen Green is a young star, could blossom in Phoenix, but it's still not going to work. Phoenix just got so wrapped up in the big three, and they wanted to perfect that. They wanted to make that so good, and it just didn't work out for them. It really didn't. And now what are they left with? And not much. That's the answer. Um, Nobody's gonna want to get Bradley Beal, so you're never gonna be able to really trade him. Um, and they're really in a similar spot. I mean, like I can't really see them being a great team. They're not gonna be a championship caliber team. They may sneak into the playoffs, but if they do, they're not gonna make it far. It's really sucks. It really sucks. I thought they were gonna get a lot more for Durant. I thought Durant was really gonna be a Spur, but turns out he's a Rocket and he's got an exciting year ahead because the Rockets are going to be disgusting next year.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll pass it back off to either one of you, Deej or
Yeah.
Johnny. You want to take on?
Johnny had quite frankly the greatest reaction I've ever seen in the history of this podcast. I need him to talk right now. What are your thoughts, Johnny?
I listen, I get like you could say what you want about the trade, but at the end of the day, how many teams are gonna want to give up their future for a 36-year-old?
I agree with Johnny. I agree with Johnny.
Let's be real here. I mean, he great player. I don't love him. I actually don't like the way his career's gone with going to all these teams and not doing anything, and instead of being loyal and trying to stick it out. But anyway, yeah, that's the bottom line. No one's gonna give up their future for a 36 year. How many good years does Kevin Durant have in his career? Let's be real. Let's be honest.
Who
He's
knows?
in his late 30s. I mean, that's how I feel about it. I don't. There's not much else other to say than that. Like you could say whatever you want about the trade, but I don't think the Suns just went to the Rockets and said, "Okay, yeah, here you go." I just don't think anyone else really offered anything much better.
I
Uh,
mean, regardless, though, sorry, Deej, to cut you off, but regardless, though, I mean, Kevin Durant's going to be one of those players that ages like fine wine. He's like LeBron. LeBron is the
How do you
oldest
know?
player in the league, and
fight back, Johnny.
he's still
How
continuing
do you know
to
that?
dominate because it's Kevin Durant. That's how I know that. It's Kevin Durant. There's no other explanation.
LeBron
He's
James is
no
better.
matter how many injuries he suffers, he still is Kevin Durant. Every
Fight
time he
back.
goes on the court,
Kevin
he's
Durant's
Kevin
not
Durant.
LeBron James.
No, he's not LeBron James, but it's still Kevin Durant. He's still one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah.
So I just expected maybe 2 to 3 first round picks might have been a stretch, but
Yes.
still I expected at least something more. Uh, If you could agree with me on that, Deej.
So what do you
I
think the deal
expected a
should have
little
been?
bit more for Durant. What happened?
What do you think the deal should have been between the Rockets and the Suns?
I'm not entirely sure, Johnny. I'm not a GM. I'm not exactly sure how this works, but I expected a little bit more. I would have thought, look, Desmond Bain got 4 first round picks. That's 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 what was given up, or what they got back for Desmond Bain, the Grizzlies, 4 first round picks.
Desmond Bain is
So
like 10 years younger than Kevin Durant.
again, I still feel like they should have got way more than they did.
Look,
That's just my thoughts.
I expected a little more, but like for a 36-year-old Kevin Durant, I don't think it's the worst package in the world. I think maybe they could have pried away a Tari Eason or a Reed Shepherd, a Cam Whitmore from Houston. But Jalen Green, I think they're gonna keep. He's got some potential there. Dylan Brooks is a great role player for that team that has absolutely zero depth. So far, the Suns have nailed the draft with Malawak and Rasheer Fleming. I think they're going to be great pieces for the future. Plus, they have Ryan Dunn and they have Nick Williams. They can or they or Nick Richards, not Nick Williams. They have Nick Richards that they can flip, or they could keep him as more center depth. And of course, Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. If Bradley Beal might play better without Kevin Durant there, he'll have the ball in his hands more. So I don't think it's the worst deal for Phoenix. I do think they could have got more. 2 to 3 first round picks are absolutely insane. No team is giving 2 to 3 first round picks for Kevin Durant.
I mean, it was only what one more than what they actually got. They got
But
the what the
there's a
tenth pick.
difference. There's a difference between giving up a pick in the current draft that's like happening in like 2 3 days than like a future pick. Because with those future picks, there's uncertainty. You don't know what those teams' records are going to be. With that pick right there, you could argue it's more valuable because you know where it's going to be. Or you could take the risk, take a future pick, like the Magic are doing, or they gave up a bunch of future picks for Desmond Bain. There,
Okay,
there,
well,
there's an argument there.
if the Rockets gave up one for future first round pick along with the number 10 pick and whatever second round picks they got plus Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, you don't think that would have been a little bit better?
I could argue that the 5 seconds are more valuable than a first round pick.
Okay,
I
fair
think
enough. I mean, that's your opinion, but
for the Suns that have absolutely zero assets today, they just made like so many trades with draft picks. They flipped like 3 second round picks to move up in the draft to get Rasheer Fleming, or 2 second round picks, whatever it was. They keep flipping the assets, and a draft pick is a draft pick. As much as people want to clown a second round pick, the MVP of the league was a second round pick. Like Jokic and Jalen Brunson, people think he's a good basketball player. Then like he was a second round pick. Just trying to rage bait Johnny. Johnny, you here?
he's locked in.
Johnny's so locked in right now. Wow. Okay. But anyway, a draft pick's a draft pick. That's my take on the Kevin Durant trade. I do think he's a little bit of a ring chaser going from going to
Absolutely a
the
ring chaser.
going to the, it's gonna be scary though because they are the second East. Oh my days, second seed in the Western Conference and you add Kevin Durant, that's going to be crazy. That's going to be a true threat to OKC with Van Vliet, you got Thompson, Jabari, Sengun, and then plus the depth of that bench is crazy. And then Ime Udoka as your coach. It's crazy. But
Yeah, they have
I
a great team. They
yeah,
really do.
I think that's all I have on that matter. I mean, we could
See if
we
they win, though.
what was that, Johnny? What you want to add? You can add.
I want to see if Kevin Durant's like put his money where his mouth is and actually win.
Okay. Well,
Like with all these teams.
I'm gonna make the executive decision to make this a really quick one because there's not really much to say here, I guess.
Yeah.
The Portland Trailblazers traded Anthony Simons for Drew Holiday. Pretty much, there were some complimentary pieces and draft picks, but that was the one, right? Johnny just learned about this trade like 10 minutes ago. So Johnny, what is your take on Drew Holiday for Anthony Simons?
I know Simons is way younger than Holiday, so
Oh, like you don't know anything.
why?
Oh,
I don't know. I have
okay.
no.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know if you were like okay. No. So you actually okay. So you're new to this.
Isn't Drew Holiday very old?
Okay, that was my point. So you're unaware of Johnny's a little bit newer to the NBA landscape,
Sure.
correct? Well, I'm
Yes.
just I'm just I'm asking. I gotta let the viewers
At
know.
this level, sure.
Okay. So maybe I should ask Zach this question. Zach, what are your thoughts on the trade?
I thought it was kind of like just out of nowhere. Like I wasn't expecting to see that kind of move from the Celtics, just like I wasn't expecting to see the other move for the Celtics that we're gonna get into. But Drew Holiday has been such a staple for that lineup, for the past couple of years now. He's played a big part of why they won the championship just last year. So he fit that mold really well, and that starting lineup was just so dangerous with Tatum and everybody in there, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps. So that starting lineup was what worked for them. Now they're going into something different. Anthony Simons has a very high upside, and he could be a monster for the Celtics, and they're going to need a monster because like we said, Tatum's going to be out for majority of the year, and who knows when he'll be back and on the court again. So hopefully that pans out for them pretty good. I think it should, because Drew Holiday is getting up there in age. Um, but yeah, I just like Drew Holiday a lot just because he was a defensive wizard, and he may not have scored the ball a lot for the Celtics, but he sure made some key defensive stops. So again, he just fit that mold really well. And I'm sure he'll be probably really missed in Boston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My take on it is I see it for Boston, right? You're replacing Drew Holiday with a young Anthony Simons, and with Jason Tatum out for the year with his Achilles injury, Simons can really step up. I think Jaylen Brown's gonna have a phenomenal year. Same with Derek White, but Simons, can get the ball in his hands a little bit in Boston and play for a more winninger or organization, I guess if you want to call it that. I do expect Simons to be off the team by the end of the year. They did the trade to dump salary. Drew Holiday's on a ridiculously stupid, expensive contract. That's part of the reason why I don't understand Portland doing this trade. I mean, you traded a young guard who was almost like the face of your team for Drew Holiday, who doesn't even want to be there. So I don't understand that at all. I don't know. From Portland's point of view, it's confusing to me. If you want him to mentor the young players, you want to mentor Scoot, sure, okay, I guess. But does that really have to cost Anthony Simons? Like really? Um, like I said, I think Simons is off the team by the end of the year, unless he has just a monster year that Boston absolutely cannot not re-sign him. They need to save salary. That's why they traded Drew for Simons, who's on a cheaper deal. That's why they traded Kristaps, which we'll get into later on. But that's pretty much all I have to say on the matter. It was a salary dump, but a very lopsided salary dump. And I think Brad Stevens is an absolute wizard at what he does. And I'm actually just going to go right into the other Celtics one, and we're going to talk about Kristaps Porzingis got traded to the Hawks. Johnny, did you know that?
Hmm.
No, you're a Knicks fan. You are a Knicks fan, so you have a little bit of a relationship with Tingus Pingus. So, what is your reaction to your old friend?
I don't know. I mean, from what I heard, he gets hurt a lot. Uh, so I guess that was a concern. Like, if he's not available, we don't want him. I don't know. I could be wrong on that.
Okay.
Um, But I guess they're just trying to like, shake things up. I mean, Tatum's not going to be playing for the year, so I guess they're just trying to wipe the slate. Well, not wipe the slate, but like
Salary dump.
salary dump, whatever you want to call it, and like have a experiment year.
Okay, interesting.
Nope.
Okay, do you think it's smart to have an experiment year as you're calling it after just coming off
In
an NBA championship?
After losing your best player, it's not like the worst thing in the world. Do you really think they're going to be competitive as they were last year without Tatum?
All right, I have a question for you. Say the Yankees kept Juan Soto, right? And Aaron Judge is done for the year. Do you trade Juan Soto for fun?
No, you don't trade one. That's okay. I don't think Juan Soto
It's
and
different. Juan Soto is not as injury prone. Let me use Stan. Do you trade Stan for fun?
I wouldn't say for fun, but like I don't know. Stan's not really. Is Stan really as valuable as he used to be? I mean, I know that's not even really on the.
To the Yankees, he is
Guy can't
apparently.
run. He's never healthy. I will say,
Can't play.
granted, granted. I say all that. He is also a monster in the postseason, so I will give him that. If he can continue to do that, I'm fine with him being the guy he is. And
You know, Stan he absolutely torches it in the postseason. He's never invisible. He can't stretch out. He's not fantastic in that scenario. He cannot stretch out a couple extra base hits or triples because he's slow like that. But that's the thing with Stan. He really torches up the competition in the postseason. But we're not here talking about Stan. I get what you're saying. We're gonna talk more about Kristaps. So I can speak a little bit. Then Zach, you can as well. Kristaps, simply put it, you know, sometimes he goes invisible because he is hurt a lot. But when he is on the court, he does torch up the court a lot. He's a human that really just torches it up, and he has that ability. He's nothing short of fantastic. He's a stretch big as well. He's a fantastic stretch big. So that's the thing. That's the thing with Kristaps. Um, but the problem is his salary. It's the same thing I said with JRUE, right? It just spells out doom for the Celtics because they need to shed salary, and the CBA is so killer. It's so killer, and it's just like it just spells out doomsday for the Boston Celtics. So they have to ship out JRUE. They have to ship out Kristaps. And the Kristaps deal, I mean, Kristaps, I feel like is valued so low now in the league because of his, just injury proneness. So he was literally flipped for Georges Niang and a second round pick. That's all it was. And all Atlanta had to give up was Terrence Mann and pick number 22. That went to Brooklyn. I talked about him. Drake Powell. He's going to be a stud. He's going to be the next Kawhi Leonard. So it's a straight salary dump. I think Boston, this upcoming season, they're not going to be contenders. But I think even without Kristaps and even without JRUE, I still think they're going to be contenders if Tatum comes back healthy, considering how weak the Eastern Conference is. As long as they have Tatum, as long as they have Brown, as long as they have Derek White, I think they're going to be totally fine. Zach, what do you got
Well,
for me?
I agree. I agree with you. I think they will be totally fine eventually, but right now they're really struggling. Or they're going to really struggle. I think they're still going to be a good team.
1 second. Johnny, you looking up stats there?
yeah, for one of the next topics.
Okay. Okay. Continue.
Okay. I think they're still going to be a really good team. Obviously, they're not going to be the same team. We've mentioned that a lot this pod. So it's just a weird move again for me. Like it came out of nowhere. To same thing with the Drew Holiday trade. I don't know why they decided to move Kristaps, but at the same time, like you mentioned or you brought
Salary.
to my attention before, yeah, we talked about this off camera as well. Salary. Salary is a big issue for them, and I guess I could see them wanting to move, Drew Holiday, who's getting up there in age, and Kristaps, who's pretty much invisible all the time, and can't stop getting hurt throughout the year. So I don't think he'll ever really get to a point where he'll be healthy consistently on the
To a,
court.
a point. Yeah.
So really a good move. I actually like out of all the people out of all the things that the people got in the trade, I like Brooklyn's return the best, to tell you honest truth.
I
I
do
like
too.
Terrence Mann and I like the number 22nd pick, Drake Powell.
Drake Powell.
Um I think they got the best return out of everybody, but Georges Niang and a second round pick is
Yeah.
for Kristaps. I mean, granted his injury status, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If I was the Celtics, I don't know if I'd make that move.
Yeah. So with that being said, We do have a little bit less than 10 minutes left in this pod. We scheduled a time. So, without further ado, I want to just jump right to this. That was the last NBA. A lot of NBA topics that we talked about. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that. But we're going to talk about the biggest baseball topic, the biggest debate that's been going around. Cal Raleigh. Is he going to win MVP over Aaron Judge? Johnny, is Big Dumper going to take the reign from the Judge?
No, he's not. And I listen, I get it. First of all, he's there's no doubt he's having a great year. Okay, we can all agree on that. It's
Okay.
amazing. 32 bombs, a lot of RBIs. I don't remember the exact number. Uh, Great. But there's we're not even halfway through the season yet. And when it comes to consistency and when it comes to who is the better overall player, I have more faith and confidence that Aaron Judge will have a better overall rest of the year than Cal Raleigh. I mean, that's not even he's the best hitter in
Mhm.
baseball. He without question, he's the number one leader in average, number one leader in hits, I'm almost pretty sure. And yeah, you could say whatever you want, but Aaron Judge will win MVP this year.
All right, Zach, before I give my take, what are your thoughts?
Look, I think Cal Raleigh is a tremendous catcher, and his stats are unbelievable. As Johnny said, 32 homers. He's got 69 RBIs. He's got an OPS of over 1,000. Average is at around sitting around 280 as well. It's
75.
really insane to see like what he's doing for the Mariners and to see how cheap the Mariners got him on the contract extension. It was a 6-year extension. I think
It's
I
crazy.
believe at the beginning of this year, and they're only paying him like 18, a little under $18 million a year. So that's a very good value for that kind of production out of a catcher. I wish the Mets had a catcher like this, but obviously we have our woes with Francisco Alvarez and all that kind of drama that's going on with us. But I mean, hats off to Cal Raleigh. I mean, like he's really just a demon, and as far as the MVP race and him and Judge, I can't put him over Judge. Obviously, Judge is just putting up video game numbers. Like it,
Hmm.
there's no way he should be batting close to 400 in a full MLB season. Like in the beginning of the year when he was batting literally 400, I was like, okay, it's the beginning of the year. He got a couple hits. His average is up. Whatever. It's the beginning of the year. It'll come down. It never came down. That's what shocked me mainly the most out of everything. But it's still going to be Judge. Judge is on pace to have another career year. Um, but Cal Raleigh is not really that far behind them right now in stats.
Hmm.
Just the average. How could you not pick Judge?
Hmm.
Almost 400 average.
Yeah. So I'll make this quick. Obviously I'm a little bit of a biased Yankee fan, but Aaron Judge leads every single stat. Like he beats Raleigh in every single stat except for home runs and RBIs. That's the only thing Raleigh has
That's what I
over
was looking at, by the way.
where you when you were on your phone.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. You're a trustworthy guy. That's the only thing Riley has over Aaron Judge, the home runs. Now, of course, he has the added bonus, the added benefit of being a catcher, a switch hitting catcher. Catchers are very scarce in this league. So when you have someone that can do what Riley's doing, and on top of he's a great defender as well, I don't want to this elite narrative, whatever, but like he's a good catcher. He's a good defensive catcher, great hitter, obviously, as we know. That's the only thing that he's beating Judge in are these home runs. I talk about this a lot. I've talked about it with Jokic, Embiid, Shea. This could be the case where they finally see someone has a similar, if not, close to better season than Aaron Judge, the usual MVP, and they just give it to the other person because their season's similar. I said it with Jokic and Shea. I said Jokic deserved to win MVP this year, but they gave it to Shea because his season was similar to Jokic. Finally, someone put up a competitive year against Jokic, so they gave it to that person. This could be the same case. I pray to God that these voters do not get voter fatigue and vote for Riley just because Judge has won MVP multiple times before. If Riley, deserves MVP, I'll say it. But right now, all things considered, Aaron Judge is just more consistent in every category. If Riley breaks the AL home run record broken by Aaron Judge, maybe there's a debate there. I don't know, Johnny, what do you think? You think if Riley breaks Judge's home run record, you think he's MVP?
Not if Judge is beating him in every other stat.
So you think even if Judge beats him in every other stat, he still deserves to be
Yes, is
MVP?
that even a question? Like
I was
that's
wondering because that's historic. That's just historic. Zach,
yeah,
what do you
I'm
think?
sure it's historic.
Look, if Judge's stats uphold, right, and
Mhm.
he's close to his number or like 50 something homers and 400 average, it's really going to be hard to choose between the two. But then again, it's history. So
Oh my
it,
God.
The
it
voters love
You made
history.
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 Does that make him the
Like,
better player?
and you know what? I do agree with you, Deej, that they really could do the exact same thing with like they did with Shea this year, and they
Mhm.
just gave him the
Yeah,
MVP
that's
pretty
just
much.
no hate to
They could
Shay.
just
That's just my
give,
opinion.
yeah, they could just give Big Dumper the MVP
Love
instead
that
of
nickname.
Judge.
Love the nickname.
So I could totally see that happening. And if he does somehow break the AL home run record, um, man, that'd be something. That'd be
That's
something.
debate.
That's a real competition then for
Mhm.
MVP. That'd be a toss of a coin for me.
So if he's beating him in average by a landslide, OBP by a landslide, WAR by a landslide, and he breaks the home run record, we're just gonna give him the MVP.
Well, that's why I asked the question. I was curious. I don't know personally. Baseball people love history
Do you think that
and
should happen?
legacies.
If you're those people, do you think
I'm asking you. That's why I brought the question.
I don't
Johnny, it's really hard to like overlook history. I'm being for real. Like
understand that, but that doesn't you broke history doesn't mean you're better than someone else. You did you,
how
you
many?
broke
Let me
history
ask you this: when Judge did it, how many eyes were on him?
a lot. I,
How many people watched
a
that
lot of
happen?
people, but the other
Especially
thing
that
also
game.
made that even more exciting.
Here's the thing though. Judge was doing it in a league of his own. Everyone knew Judge was winning MVP this year. Riley is actually putting up like somewhat comparative stats to Aaron Judge in a way, like somewhat close.
Yeah.
That's the only difference here is that if he did break the record while also being very like comparable to Aaron Judge, then you have a debate here. But that's why I was curious as to your opinion. If he does break the record, do you think he should win MVP?
Yeah. Again, it's really going to be a toss of a coin for me. It really, really,
I hope there's no
truthfully
voter
is.
fatigue. I hope there's no voter fatigue because Judge should have so many more MVPs.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But with that being said, that about wraps up episode 60 of the Dude on Ball
60.
podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is new kind of format for us, quicker format for us. So we're still getting used to it. We'll get better as time goes on. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will catch you guys in the next one.